The North Atlantic Treaty Organization was established by 12 countries in April 1949, creating an alliance stretching from North America across the Atlantic to Europe. NATO's founding treaty was signed by heads of state and government in Washington. Article 10 of the Washington Treaty stated that NATO's door would remain open to European democracies willing and able to assume the responsibilities and obligations of membership. By 2009, NATO's membership had increased to 28 allies through 6 rounds of enlargement. During the Cold War, strategic interests were at the forefront of decision-making about enlargement. Greece and Turkey joined the alliance in 1952. The strategic location of the two countries was important. In particular, Turkey controlled the Soviet Union's only access to the Mediterranean. Another priority was to align Greece with the West. The country had just come out of a civil war and was still deeply divided between conservatives and communists. West Germany became a member in 1955, after several years of heavy discussion among the Allies. The country was pivotal to Allied interests due to its geographical location as well as its industrial power and large workforce. Yet, memories of the First and Second World Wars were still fresh in the minds of Europeans. The newly democratic Spain joined NATO in 1982. The country's geographical position was a valuable asset to the alliance. The fall of the Berlin Wall in November 1989 signaled the end of the Cold War and the end of the division of Europe. The pace of change over the next few years was remarkable. Germany was reunified, bringing the territory of the former East Germany into the alliance. The Warsaw Pact dissolved and the Soviet Union broke up. Allied leaders responded to the dramatic changes underway by extending a hand of friendship to their former Warsaw Pact adversaries, inviting them to develop relations with NATO. This led to the creation of a forum for dialogue and the launch of practical bilateral cooperation. Some of NATO's new Central and Eastern European partners soon declared an interest in joining the alliance.
This was an area of Europe which had been fought over by the great powers for centuries, carved up, integrated into different countries. They wanted to escape their past. They wanted a future of security in which their national independence would be guaranteed more or less indefinitely. And they saw one organisation, and one organisation only, that could really guarantee that independence, and that was NATO.
Enlargement was the subject of lively debate in the 1990s. The Allies conducted a study to look into the merits of admitting new members.
The 1995 study on enlargement set down 3 conditions which, if fulfilled, would guarantee that enlargement would be a good thing for NATO and a good thing for Europe. The first condition, obviously, was that the countries that wanted to join had to be ready to join. They had to have completed their democratic transformation. They had to make up their quarrels with their neighbours, solve their minority disputes. The second condition was that NATO had to know that in absorbing new members, obviously it could continue to function as a serious alliance. The third condition was that enlargement was not just about extending security guarantees to individual countries, but the effect would be to add stability for the whole of Europe.
At the Madrid summit in 1997, Poland, Hungary and the Czech Republic were invited to start preparations to join the alliance.
It was both political and military task. In its first phase, we were addressing the issues put forward by the intensified dialogue, which was based on NATO study on enlargement. After Madrid summit, after we were invited to join NATO, there was another important stage, so-called accession talks. And at that time, we had a possibility to talk more deeply about such important issues like solidarity, burden sharing, consensus, how NATO works. I mean, what makes NATO strong. And it was an excellent opportunity for us not only to understand these things, but also to commit our country to this principle, to make us a future and strong ally.
The Czech Republic, Hungary and Poland became members of the alliance in March 1999. A month later, at the Washington summit, NATO launched the Membership Action Plan, often referred to as the MAP. Its aim is to help countries prepare for possible membership. Estonia is one of a number of countries that has participated in the MAP.
The advantage of that plan was that it was reviewed every year by the very experienced NATO staff, which was also capable of giving us pointers on what else should be done to prepare ourselves. Obviously, the final decision was a political one, but this allowed us to make our case. I think very largely thanks to MAP, we are today members of the North Atlantic Alliance.
7 countries, Bulgaria, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Romania, Slovakia and Slovenia, became members of NATO in March 2004, in the second round of post-Cold War enlargement. Three other countries had also been participating in the Membership Action Plan. However, at that time, Albania, Croatia and the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia were not yet considered to be ready to join the alliance. Eventually, Albania and Croatia were invited to start accession talks in April 2008 at the Bucharest summit.
Thank you.
They formally became members a year later, in April 2009. Most likely, this will not be the last round of enlargement. The former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia has been assured that it will be invited to join NATO as soon as a solution to the issue of the country's name has been reached with Greece. 2 other Balkan countries, Bosnia and Herzegovina and Montenegro, have been invited to take part in the Membership Action Plan. NATO has been helping to build peace and security in the Balkans since the mid-1990s, and the Allies see the closer integration of Western Balkan countries as essential to ensuring long-term stability in this region. At the Bucharest summit, Allied leaders also agreed that Georgia and Ukraine may one day become members, but ultimately, their future path with NATO will be determined by their respective peoples and elected leaders. Membership of the alliance can be very demanding. The Allies have to be sure that any new member not only shares Allied values, but is also ready to contribute to NATO's missions.
What is the criterion that we apply in order to invite a new member around this table? The criterion is performance. Good performance in all membership-related aspects. The decision is taken, as we say, by consensus. What does it mean? It means that all nations must feel comfortable with a new member around this table and its performance. And of course, let me add that, any accession to NATO and thus the enlargement of NATO does not pose any threat to any other nation in Europe or beyond.
NATO's ongoing enlargement process is aimed at promoting stability and cooperation, at building a Europe whole and free, united in peace, and founded on the common values of democracy, individual liberty, and the rule of law.